Well, I hope this video finds you on this amazing Monday morning, having an amazing Monday morning. I don't know about you, but I'm really enjoying today, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what's going on in your life and how this day has gone. For those that have given us feedback on our previous videos, we are so appreciative of that, and we'll be implementing some of those things moving forward. And actually, if you really want to have a major influence or you have some questions, next week we have our live Q&A. So make sure to get your questions in, but make sure to tune in at 5:30 next Monday. Don't be looking at 7 in the morning for that video because you won't find it. You'll find it at 5:30. We'll be live answering your questions. So be sure to send those in. So this week, I'm going through, we're in the middle of election season. I'm hearing all these campaign smear, ads on the radio, on the TV, on my computer. Just all this chaos swirling around, all this negativity. And it's very easy if you focus on that to get overwhelmed. You feel really burdened in the middle of this chaos. And this really got me thinking, if I'm feeling this way, you're probably feeling this way. If I'm struggling, you're probably struggling because we're not in this alone. As I've said multiple times, nothing happens outside of relationship. So with that, I got thinking about burdens and casting your cares. So Psalms 55:22 tells us this. It says, "Cast your burdens on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never allow the righteous to be shaken." So I'm righteous. I know you on the other side. You're righteous as well. So when we cast our cares and our burdens upon him, he's faithful to not let us be shaken. So as you see over my shoulder here, we have this picture of the cross up here that is important to me because in my life, that's a cross on Liberty Mountain overlooking Liberty University, where I've gone to school and I'm currently going to school. It was at that cross where I laid my burdens down, where God told me, "I want you to cast your cares upon me and leave your burden here." And I did. And the amazing thing that happened is God, just like he says in 55:22 of Isaiah, he took my burden, he wouldn't allow me to be shaken. So that has come to mean a lot to me. So it's from that experiential understanding that I bring this to you today. So because I understood what happened, I understand what happens when we lay our burden down. So when we hold on to our burdens, when we don't lay them down, it causes us issues. It causes us to be, they're called burdens for a reason. Actually, here, let me demonstrate this for you. So when we have burdens, they're heavy, right? They take up our strength. They take up our ability to be free. So now when we have one burden, this is kind of heavy. This bowling ball, it's a 16-pound bowling ball. It's pretty heavy. After a while, it's going to continue to get heavy. But now in life, we have a burden. We'll carry this burden around. But a lot of times we end up picking up another burden. And so we carry around these burdens. We're walking around, having a good time, carrying our burdens around. But here's the thing. Here's what burdens do. They steal our strength. The longer I hold these, if I hold these out, even right now, I can feel the weight of these burdens starting to push my hands down. I'm starting to sweat a little bit. I can feel a sweat on the back of my hands. This is what burdens do. They burden us and wear us down. And over time, my arms are starting to get tired. They're starting to get weak. Now, I can carry these, and I'm choosing to carry these. And in our lives, we choose to carry our burdens many times rather than letting them go. See, when we have our burdens, when we deal with these things, and many times they come from our past, they come from our experience, we don't want to let them go. So we just hold on to them. But here's the problem when we hold on to our burdens. It takes our strength. My arms are tired. I'm feeling pretty weak. Over time, my arms are going to start to cramp, my fingers are going to start to hurt, and I'm going to probably end up dropping them on my foot. And it's going to cause more damage than is necessary. Holding these takes my freedom. I can't use my hands, I can't lift them up and down, and I can't grab anything. See, here's the problem with holding on to these. I can't grab anything else. My burdens are taking up everything. So when God says, I want to give you freedom, I want to give you breakthrough, I want to give you hope, how am I going to grab that? I can't. My hands are taken up by my burdens. But this is a choice we make so many times, is that we choose to hold on to our burdens rather than letting go, which prevents us from the freedom and the blessing that God has for us. So this is why when at the foot of that cross on Liberty Mountain, I laid my burden down. I said, okay, God, I'm going to take this burden. I'm going to lay it at the foot of your cross. I'm going to give this to you, and whatever happens is in your hands. So now by doing that, it freed me up to grab what God had for me. It freed me up to say, okay, God, I receive what you have. See, we can't receive healing. We can't receive the ability to overcome our burdens if we're not willing to lay them down. We can't have that freedom if we're wanting to hold on to the past. See, we're told this is what God says, to lay your burden down, because he knows that if we don't lay it down, we can't receive what he has. If we don't lay down the burden of poor thinking, if we don't lay down that unforgiveness, we can't grab hold of what he has. See, breakthrough, healing, and strength are found in releasing our burdens. Let me repeat that. Breakthrough, healing, and strength are found in laying down your burdens. I couldn't have freedom. I couldn't regain my strength without putting this down. Now, I can gain strength from it by allowing God to use it, but first I have to lay it down. And much like me, you need to lay down your burdens if you want to see the breakthrough that God has for you. If you're wondering, why am I not seeing the breakthrough? Why am I feeling so overwhelmed? Why am I feeling like I might be overcome? Take a hard look at that. And are you holding on to your burdens? It's okay. You need to let it go. And if you let it go, you will find freedom. Let's see let's turn to the Bible and see what the Bible says about burdens and laying our cares down. If we turn to Isaiah 40:31, those who trust in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagle. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. We're promised that if we lay our burdens down, God will renew our strength. If you're just willing to let go of those things, God is faithful to renew your strength. One of those areas that God wants to renew strength and that's robbing us of strength, and that's a burden that we need to let go of, it's found in Ephesians 4:31, where it says this. It says, let all bitterness, anger, and wrath, shouting and slander be removed from you, along with all malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving one another, just as God forgave you in Christ. If you are willing to lay down that unforgiveness, that burden of hatred, that burden of anger, God will forgive you. God will give you freedom. If you're holding on to that burden, that anger, if you're holding on to it, how are you able to receive what God has for you? How are you able to grab what you're overcoming in your freedom if you are holding others hostage in unforgiveness? Because really, you're holding yourself hostage and robbing yourself because you can't grab it because you're holding on to this so bad and so hard. So if you're willing to let go, God will renew your strength. And finally, the third verse I want to look at the end of this is Galatians 6:2, which says this: carry one another's burdens In this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ. Everything happens in relationship. We need to turn to one another, share with one another, build one another, and carry one another's burdens. And in doing so, we will fulfill the love of Christ. He will restore what's been lost. He will give you strength in doing so. And so let me, as we close up here, encourage you, find someone to help you unpack. Find someone to help you carry your burdens, to help you remove your burdens. Because now, with only 2 burdens, I have 2 hands. But now if I have this football on here as a burden, and I stick it on the top of this, I'm going to have a hard time releasing that burden. Sometimes we need people to help us release our burdens. So let me challenge you, find someone to help bear your burdens. Find someone to help you overcome. Find someone to help you process. Whether that's you want to come in and talk with me, more than willing. Come in, let's talk about this. I'll help you go through this because I know how to get through this because God has brought me through it. God gave me people to walk through it with. If not me, find another pastor or counselor, someone that's going to help guide and direct you back to Christ, back through the scriptures to let go. Find someone to help you carry. Find someone to help you overcome. And in doing so, find someone that's going to help you be accountable in the future to not pick that burden back up. Because that's important. You don't want to just put it down. You see me put this burden down and pick it back up multiple times. It's just as heavy as it was before. We don't want to pick that burden back up. We want to give it to the Lord and leave it there. We want to grow in strength. So let me challenge you to cast your cares upon the Lord. Give Him your cares. Give Him your burdens. Find people to walk this path with. In doing so, God will restore your strength and He'll make you stronger because of it. So, with that, I thank you for watching this. And let me remind you one more time, next week, be looking at 5:30, not 7. And be sure to interact because we look forward to interacting with you. Thank you. God bless. I look forward to your interaction.